And we are the dreamers of dreams.
About 2 weeks ago, Joan kindly invited me to the new Gesgep event, and Gesgep is basically, y'all know Son&Park. It's their own brand. I always assumed that because their name, the brand was Son&Park, it was their brand, but apparently this new Gesgep brand is like their own brand, which they have control over everything. So anyway, while we were there, we did receive our own G palettes, which is like the whole brand is like based around this palette, and it's very similar to the Innisfree palette, in which you get to choose eyeshadows, concealers, highlighters, contour, brow stuff to put into the palette, so you can kind of customize whatever you want. So it really makes it ideal for those people that aren't really experimental with makeup and they kind of have like the same look every day and they just need something that's really quick and easy and on the go. Because like I've mentioned before, I have taken this palette out and just done my whole face using just this palette. And I would say that the pricing of this brand is at a premium. Probably something you would see like in Sephora, because just the concealer and the eyeshadows alone, I believe, are like $20 each, which is a very steep price tag, especially if you're going to be making one of these. I remember using this on my mom and she really liked it, and she asked me to basically recreate this whole palette for her on the website. And by the way, it's only available online in Korea for now, which is a little frustrating, but I created this palette on the website and it came out to over $100, so it's not a cheap palette. Here I got 3 eyeshadows, a highlighter, and concealer, but they do have other things like I said, eyebrow, contour, and they do have liquid foundation, but it's in like a separate bottle. And they actually do have skincare, which I did receive at the event. I vlogged the whole event. That vlog should be out after this video, but I vlogged the event, and there's a little game thing where you could like win a prize, and I won the prize. And in it was actually some of their skincare. So I'm going to be starting from beginning to end, like skincare to makeup and all that, so you'll see the whole process. If you want to see Joan's palette, I'll link her video up here so you can see her thoughts on the palette and the stuff that she got in hers. So to start off with, Gesgep does have a cleanser. This is the Super Clear Cleanser, and it's just supposed to be, the whole concept of the skincare is supposed to prep your skin for makeup. And I haven't tried this one yet, but from the color and the description on the box, it's one of those like clay-based kind of cleansers that are supposed to soak up all the oils from your skin. I didn't use it. I did use my Troitica skincare, so I am though going to start off with the Gesgep Mist Wash. And this is supposed to be basically like the cleansing, like the beauty water, which is what put Son&Park's name on the map. They're famous for their beauty water. Me and Joe used to talk about it all the time. And it's just like a beauty water. It's supposed to tone your skin, it's supposed to help cleanse your skin, but also moisturize your skin. And this is basically this. Honestly, this is the same thing, but in like mist form. And you're supposed to spray your face, and then take a cotton pad and kind of sweep it across the skin. And the formula of this is supposed to help exfoliate the skin, which I'm all about. And then you're supposed to pat in the rest. I was doing my friend's makeup earlier, and I really liked, because they actually already washed their face before they came here, but to kind of prep their skin for the makeup, I use this, and I really enjoy it because I don't have to like cleanse their face. I can kind of just use that, and it helps tone their skin, and it helps moisturize at the same time. The actual pump I don't really care for. This thing right here, it looks like frosted glass, but no, it's just plastic. It's really like flimsy in a way, and the way it connects to the top spray part, it's like really hard to, it's just really difficult to push down. And when you do push it down, the spray, it's super fine, but the diameter, is it? The actual size of the mist is really small, so I do have to mist quite a lot. Oh, I actually did also get a face mask, like a sheet mask, but I haven't used it yet. But the thing I'm most excited for is the preparing cream. This almost, like, I've never used it before, but also, actually, Joan mentioned it. This brand, more specifically the packaging, reminds us a lot of the Charlotte Tilbury line. And this reminds me, like, I haven't used Charlotte Tilbury's, but this almost reminds me of what it might. Actually, no, I did swatch it once when I went to California. The Magic Cream, if you've heard of it. This all has a very similar texture. It's a really thick, balm-like moisturizer. The key word that I can think of when it comes to this moisturizer is comforting. It's extremely, like what else? How do you describe it other than just, oh, it's moisturizing? It's one of those moisturizers that's extremely thick, but it's not oily. I don't think it relies on, like, there's probably oils in it, but it doesn't feel like it's, because I know a lot of people hate the feeling of oiliness on the skin. I don't mind personally, and even I have oily skin, but It's just extremely comforting, and like if you were to feel the texture of the actual thing itself, you can really feel that it's preparing the skin for like makeup, so that your skin 잘 먹어s your foundation. Oh, this is the sheet mask, by the way. The preparing mask. Supposed to instantly hydrate and nourish the skin, ideal for your morning preparation and intensive night care. Girl, they want you to use it right before makeup in the morning and at the end before you go to bed. The preparing cream doesn't leave like a super glossy sort of finish. It leaves sort of almost like a matte finish to the skin, so you're not going to be overly greasy to where the foundation that you're going to put on is going to like slip and slide. Alright, now let's get into the G palette. In my palette, I got a concealer. The concealer here, I've talked about these products already in my my last hits and shits, so if you're interested in, I mean, I'm going to talk about it in this video again anyway. The concealer has to be, this is probably my favorite concealer if I've ever, like, it's probably over exaggerating, but like, I always gravitate towards this concealer. I'm like really sad because I'm sorry, like the dent is getting serious. The concealer is, well, one, it's extremely thick, but the way it feels on the skin, it kind of, like, it's really thick, which makes it last better on the skin, but it's not oily and it's not overly like it's supposed to be chokchok, it's supposed to be moisturizing, but it's not like the kind of greasiness that will like cause itself to break down through it, because you know there are some concealers where, yeah, it's moisturizing, but because of the moisturizing elements of the concealer, it ends up screwing itself over, and then therefore the actual concealer will like come off easily. But the thickness that this concealer has allows you to use an extremely small amount of product to cover whatever you need. The texture is ideal for under the eyes because, one, the under eyes is quite dry, and also for blemishes, which I feel like, and by the way, this hasn't caused me to break out or anything, but sometimes concealer just rubs off from the top of like blemishes, and I feel like this is strong enough to withstand that. So whether you set it or not with powder, whether you just use it alone, it lasts pretty much throughout the day. If you do have fine lines, which I do have under my eyes here, I do have to pat them out because it is quite a thick moisturizing concealer. However, because it's so thick and adhering to the skin, if I just pat it out, it doesn't rub off. It still stays on the skin. So I'm pretty much just molding it back into place. And that's if I don't set it with powder. So normally I would use foundation first, which I'm going to use, and then concealer. But for now, because I want to show you what the coverage is like, I don't need that much at all. Let's see. One of the reasons I think I like it so much is because the color is so good. This is in the color True. They have one, they only have two shades, Light and True. And the color, this color is like the perfect amount of yellow and olive. And the thing is, a lot of concealers or foundations that are olive a little bit too dark. This is olive, but more on like the light side. So as you can see, it covered the darkness really well. You'll see there's a line right here. I'm sure you can see it right here. But that's just a physical, like, actual line of my under eye. I can't help that. I could probably cover it if I use a lot of, like, really light concealer and, like, a lot of, like, baking and everything. But I think the concealer alone was able to just cover, like, the actual purple of the dark circle. Now, if I were to use this concealer alone, I would definitely take, because I have the darkness of my dark circle right here, and then my cheek is quite red. If I just cover the dark circle, you'll see it'll make the red part look more pronounced. So I do, because you know people like the Kim Kardashian thing, they would take their concealer down all the way into like a triangle, almost in that way. So I think whether you're using this concealer or any concealer, to be honest, if you're trying to use as little base product as possible, do take down your concealer a little bit. Like, you don't have to do the whole triangle thing, but to take it down a little bit just to cover the redness on the cheek, if you have it, it will really help create a more overall even tone to the skin. And also, actually, you know what, here, let me use, I do also like to use this with a brush. And my skin is quite red because I was just putting on my skincare just now, so it's quite red from like me touching my skin with my hands. But if I apply the concealer and give my skin overall time to settle down, my whole face it's quite even. But because I'm on camera, I'm gonna put foundation. This is the Troy Outerkiss Soul Cushion, very similar to the A+, but this one is targeted more towards like anti-aging and wrinkles because it has those peptides in there. And the thing is, because the concealer really concealed like my under eyes, I don't have to put that much foundation like around my eyes. Therefore, it will help minimize the creasing under the eyes because I'm quite wrinkly around here. I'm going to use the concealer on my nose because My nose is quite slippery when it comes to foundation and things. This concealer is really thick and really sticks to the skin, so I like to use it on my nose. And then whatever blemishes I have remaining. Before I powder for my face, I'm going to use the highlighter that I bought. This one, I believe, is in Starlight. And the texture is like literally the same as the ColourPop one. It's a really soft, squishy, moussey kind of jelly type of product. The actual, like, when I was swatching it at the event, I was like, oh my god, yes, like, oh my god, that highlight though. But in person, it's more of like a shimmery, well, it depends on how you apply it. If you use your finger, which I'm about to do, I'm doing a combination of both. It's, I don't know, it's like a cream to powder finish, and there's a lot of shimmer in it. There's a lot of shimmer. It's weird because it can simulate, depending on how you apply it, it can simulate the look of really moisturized, that kind of moisturized looking highlight. But if you use a brush, I notice that you get more shimmer from it. So to apply it in a more natural way, I'm going to use my finger first. I don't know. It's just okay, honestly. I thought I would really like this highlighter, but and because of the texture, I thought it would be more moisturized on the skin. But because it's actually more of like a powdery highlight when it's on the skin and it's blended out. So I don't know. Maybe my skin is just shit, but it's just an okay highlight. I'm gonna use a brush, a synthetic brush. This will give you more concentrated color. I'm gonna put that in the very top, right here, right where because the light will hit our cheekbones, but there's a part where the light is the strongest. That's where I'm gonna put it, right here at the tops of the cheeks. I probably shouldn't be doing this because I do wrinkle a lot right there, so it's gonna crease. It's just for like demonstration purposes, especially when concentrated is a little bit more on the white side. So it will work well for fair skins, but on my pale skin, on my more yellowy, just light skin, light to medium skin, it can be a little harsh if I put it on too much. I'm gonna go back to the highlighter, but for now, I'm going to powder my skin. This is the Nudism powder from Clio. Hated the cushion, but this powder is pretty alright. It doesn't give the look of super dry and matte. If you want to powder your skin and set your foundation, but you're more of that sort of moisturized dewy, you want that sort of moisturized dewy look, this will kind of give you that. It still will mattify the skin because it's powder, but it will allow the oils on your skin to come out much faster than if this was just a mattifying powder. God, it's so hot. And before we get started on eyeshadow, I'm going to run some brow cara through my brows. Alright, welcome to my face. I got 3 eyeshadows here. Like Joan mentioned, the event room was very dark, so we couldn't really see the colors very well, so they're not exactly what I wanted, but this combination of colors is quite pretty. I forgot the names of these. I'll have them on the screen or down below in the info bar. The color I have here is this kind of like pale pinky lavender, and then I got a sort of shimmery coral with gold flecks in it, and then I got a matte kind of muted purpley taupe, I guess. I was really excited for these colors, but I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm very disappointed by the quality of these shadows. For $20, okay, here's the thing. It depends on the kinds of shades you get. The matte shades, of course, they're pretty pigmented. You do get full color, you can build it up quite well, and it can be very strong, but this one I'm not gonna blame too much. It is a matte shade, but it's just a light shade, so it's not gonna be naturally, it's just not gonna have a ton of pigment. But this one, the shimmery shade, I was really like, it's very subpar. I can see these colors working really well on people with really flat, like Korean eyelids, like monolids, or just people that have very flat lids that aren't too wrinkly or anything, and they just have a very smooth eyelid surface. And if you have a lot of foundation and your skin tone's all even, or if you just have naturally really good skin, and you're more on like the fair to light fair side, colors like this will pop on you more. But I don't know, I just feel like for $20, it's not, it doesn't perform as much as I would like. I mean, I would find Etude shadows much better than this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put an eyeshadow primer, because otherwise you will not see specifically that really shimmery color. It's just not gonna show up as much as I would like it to. I'm gonna kind of skip this shade. I will swatch it for you, but I'm gonna skip this shade because I feel like for my skin tone it's way too light, even as a base. So I'm just gonna go straight in with this color right here. Just tap off the excess. I don't, like, you obviously get way more color payoff with your fingers, but I don't feel like using my fingers right now, so I'm gonna use a brush. And you see this is okay pigment. You can look at it two ways. One, you can think, oh, okay, this color's pretty, because you know, it's a pretty color, but it's not exactly what you would see in the pan. And as a consumer, if you want a certain color, wouldn't you want the color that you see in the pan? Because I don't think there's many people that will look at it and be like, oh, when I buy this shadow, I hope it's gonna come off lighter than it really looks in the pan, because that's the color I want. You know what I mean? On my mom, this looked really pretty. For me, it's not really a color I would gravitate towards, because again, at the party, at the event, it came off more like a color I would get. I thought it would be more like a warm orangey sort of shade, but on the lid, it's more of like a light pink corally sort of shimmer, and even then, it doesn't really give me the effect of like, oh, like glowy shimmer. It's just like, it looks like my eyelids are dry. But of course, there are some people that like this shade, so more power to you. And then I'm going to go into this shade right here, this matte taupey, kind of purpley taupe, and I'm going to use this to build definition on the outside. And I really like the way these two colors look together. Take it down here as well. But as you can see, I mean, it's definitely adding that definition, but it's not as like strong as you would expect from seeing this. Even from a finger swatch, you think, oh my god, yes, slay! And you know, I could use my finger if I wanted. But to get the precision, to really work it into the crease and the outer V, I don't think I could really use my finger. Overall, my thoughts are just that it's not a bad formula. It's just that it's one of those things that you don't expect. It comes out not how you would expect a $20 eyeshadow would come out. If I did not have this eye primer, this would be a whole different story. Then for a little va-va-voom, I'm going to take this brush again and go into the highlighter. And with the brush, I'm going to get more of that concentrated, like the shimmer part. So I'm going to place it on like the center of my nose right here. And also under my brow bone here, which I think looks really pretty. And then I'm going to line my eyes using a really kind of aubergine, marsala kind of eyeliner, I don't know. Just like really hot and bothered right now. This studio, like my aircon is on full blast, but it doesn't really reach this part of my house, which is so annoying because it's so hot. And to finish everything off, I'm going to use this lip tint from Peripera. It's the ink stick, which I feel like not a lot of people talk about. Really rub it into my lips. And then make it off there. Q-tip. So that's my finished look using the Gesgep palette. Do I recommend it? The concealer, definitely recommend. This is one of those things I just keep reaching for every day. Highlighter is okay depending on the look that you want. For me, I've tried better. Eyeshadows, I would pass. I don't really care for the eyeshadows at all, especially if these were like $5 eyeshadows, I wouldn't mind, but for $20, I don't know. If you have the eye shape or you just have the kind of eye that can take like textures like this, maybe, but I feel like I don't know. I'd much rather get a really pigmented shadow. If I wanted a sheer look, I could sheer it out. But with these, they're just like subpar. I haven't tried everything from the brand, so I can't say much else about the other products other than things I already tried today. But if they somehow like have a store or something, or they have it in a place where you can swatch them, I would do that. We didn't get that much time to swatch everything, and also there were just so many people at the event, so we kind of just grabbed things. But overall, from things that I have tried, I would give it like an average. I wouldn't say that they're bad exactly, it's just that I feel like you would need the right tools or the right skills to make them look good on you. I wouldn't recommend this for like a beginner in makeup. I'd say this would be great for people that have some level of skill in makeup, but they want something they can just throw in their bag and take with them on the go. The actual packaging is gorgeous, but the fingerprints kill me. It's like, if you don't mind fingerprints, great, but they really annoy me. It does come with its own carrying case. I don't know if every G palette will come with one, but ours did. And so I think that will help alleviate the problem a little bit when you do store it. But again, make sure you watch Joan's version of her review. She really enjoys the palette, so I would recommend watching that so you can get her opinion. But there was mine. I hope you guys enjoyed it. All the products that I used today, I'll link down below. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye-bye.